Hello, friends. Wow, my shirt looks purple. It's like teal. Weird. Welcome, replay viewers, and welcome to everyone who's coming in live. Glad you're here. Hey, Tracy. So if you are new, I am Melissa from MakerySpace.com, and what I love to do besides run my own Etsy shop is educate and equip Etsy sellers in the more left-brained aspects of running their creative business. And as you can see from today's title, I want to chat a little bit about pattern. If you haven't seen it yet, Etsy has a new standalone website option that will pull in your existing listings, but you can have a custom domain name with it. And you can set up you have a few customization options. They're pretty limited, but I barely kind of perused it and wrote down some thoughts about some advantages and some negatives that I see. So I just want to share those, and this is something I'll just continue, hey Brent, playing around with today, and I'll let you know more thoughts on it as the week goes on. But I just wanted to give you my initial impressions about it. So welcome to everyone coming in. So first, I want to go over some of the advantages that I see. So if you're just coming in and you don't know what I'm talking about, Etsy just introduced today, which by the way, it's interesting because everyone's waiting for their new shop design to go live, right? And instead of them going live, they introduced this brand new pattern standalone shop thing. So I did see in the forums that a few people are starting to say that their shop is live in the new design. But if your shop is not live, you're not going to see anyone else's shop in the new design yet. So it's a by account kind of rollout. So I think they're probably just doing it gradually over the course of the day. I did notice that the big orange banner that's been at the top of our shops saying that a new design is coming is now gone from my shop at least. So I think they're just in the process of getting that going. So just keep checking. I'm sure that eventually at some point today, who knows, maybe even tomorrow, your shop will be live. Mine is not yet. So in the midst of waiting for this, they've made this announcement about Pattern, which is an option for a standalone website which pulls in your Etsy listings. All of the transactions are done through your Etsy account. All of your orders are found in your Etsy account. All of your shipping can be done from your Etsy account. So everything is still streamlined and in the same place, but you can actually have a standalone website with your own domain name. So it's not like there's Etsy in the extension at all. It's just your own domain name. So I want to tell you some of my thoughts about it. First of all, there's like, I think 4 different themes. Let me look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 different themes that cause things to show up a little bit differently on the front page, and also in some of them the listings look a little bit different as well. So you do have a few little choices there. From what I can tell, you cannot put a banner or cover photo on, which maybe when the new shop design takes hold, maybe that will be pulled in, but I'm not positive. Right now it's not looking like it. Wendy, you could, if you're not using your domain for anything right now, you could definitely use it for this. You can point it to this shop. Okay, and so then another thing is that you can put your shop icon. That's about, where did I find Pattern? Is that what you're talking about? Where did I find what? Have I figured out what to do what? Pattern is look in your dashboard in your shop. But don't try to get too much into it right now, because if you want to hear what I'm saying, I guess you could always go watch the replay. But so anyway, there's only so much customization you can do as far as the look on the front page right now. So there's no space for a blog. What I think that this could end up being a good option for people who would like a standalone site, but they just feel overwhelmed by the thought of trying to come up with something like on their own website, or they don't want to have to manage their orders from different platforms. So if you're in a time of your life where your margin is small and you're like, oh, I could do Shopify, hi Rachel, but I'm going to have to then have probably a shipping solution that pulls in my Etsy orders and my Shopify orders. You know, for some people, that's not a big deal. They're fine with that. But if your margin is tiny, this could be a really good option for you because it's keeping all of your orders still within Etsy, and you can process everything from there, and you're not trying to deal with multiple platforms, okay? So I think that's probably going to be the best target market for this. Or people who just don't want to bother. Technology scares them, frustrates them, and they just are like, I know myself. I'm just going to go ahead and go with this because I know that I'll get overwhelmed by trying to do anything else right now, okay? So one thing that I've noticed is that some of the themes, you have like a Pinterest style gallery on your front page. So that could be a huge advantage if you are using long photos, which right now don't necessarily work the best on Etsy because of the fact that everything gets cropped to the same size thumbnail. There are a couple of the styles on Pattern where you can have those long images or those square images. So when you're looking at the front page of your shop on those couple, then you are seeing it's not like totally all across in rows. You're seeing things staggered based on the size of that first photo in your listing, okay? So if you like that thought, that could be an advantage for you. Another thing I like is when you hover over one of your listings on the front page of your shop, it has this really nice looking overlay that shows the full title of your listing and the price. Okay, so it's not like these truncated titles underneath like it is on Etsy in the thumbnails. I think it looks really nice. In your product descriptions, you can make your links stand out in a different color, which I think is really nice as well. So I had changed mine to be like a turquoise color, so you really can see those internal links where you're linking to other parts of your shop or other listings. Really visually, they stand out. One disadvantage, yes, the photos look really good. They're very clear. I'll flip my phone around here in a little bit and kind of show you. I don't know how good it'll look on my screen, but I'll show you. Here's one disadvantage I will bring in is that the external listings that lead off of Etsy still are not hyperlinked in product descriptions. So that's kind of a bummer. I was hoping that would be different. In some of the themes, you can actually stack your listing photos. So you know how right now you have to scroll through on Etsy and click the arrow to get to the next photo? A couple of the themes in the new in Pattern only allow for that, but there are some themes where you can choose to either have the gallery where you scroll through or stacked. So when you're reading your product description, all of your photos for that listing are literally all down the side and all can be seen at the same time. So that's kind of a nice feature that you might like. Yeah, I hope so too. I did notice one place where there was an external link that was hyperlinked in Pattern. And I don't remember what section of my shop it was. I'll have to look into that. There's 3 different cart styles. You can choose the cart to be drop down, or it can be a slide out, or it can be an overlay where it pops up right in front of whatever page that person is on right there. So as far as the cart goes, this is one super, super great advantage. When someone clicks on their cart, it just shows what's in their cart and they don't leave your Pattern site. Whereas right now, when someone goes to their cart, they're still seeing all the categories across the top for Etsy, and at the bottom of their cart, they're still seeing, you may also like ... and things shown from other people's shops. With Pattern, there is nothing else from anywhere on Etsy shown when someone clicks on their cart. So I think that's a huge advantage. There's no shiny things distracting somebody, no getting sent to somebody else's. Yeah, it's a standalone site. It will not be found using Etsy search. Rachel. No getting distracted by someone else's items being shown to them, okay? And then when they go to checkout, it takes them to the Etsy checkout page where, once again, there's nothing else on that page. It's literally just checking out from your shop. So truly, if you end up going with this option, there is nobody else's items on Etsy being shown at any point in the process, whether they're browsing your shop, whether they're in their cart, or whether they're checking out. Okay, so it really is a standalone in that sense. Yeah, it is huge. So another negative is that buyers still have to have an Etsy account, obviously, to check out, because they still have to go through that process. And there's still the transaction fee. So fees are no different. It's just as if someone is purchasing from your shop on Etsy, but it looks different. Cloth and mortar, let me answer that in a minute. It looks different. It looks a lot nicer, a lot more professional, a lot more, well, I shouldn't say a lot more branded. Looks a little more branded. I don't think their opportunities for branding are super great right now. Maybe they will change that. And then you get your own domain name too. So there are some great advantages in that sense, even though someone still has to have an Etsy account and the fees are all the same. Another negative I noticed is that in the themes where the shipping and policies tab can be clicked on and shown, there are no line breaks. So if you have your policies written like within the shipping section or within the refunds section of your policies, if you have different parts to that and you have line breaks with space in between it, it squishes everything together. So that doesn't look very nice. Maybe that's a tweak that they'll realize, oh, this is happening, this doesn't look good, and they'll change that. It's kind of a minor thing. It just doesn't look great. Another advantage, yeah, it'll bling by Cricut. Everything will show as a sale. Everything will function exactly the same as it does when someone makes a purchase in your Etsy shop. Yeah, beta mode, you just got to expect some things aren't going to be quite right. Another advantage is that, so, right now, any hyperlinks, $15 a month after the free trial is the cost, okay? Hyperlinks right now, when you're linking to your Instagram account, your Pinterest account, Facebook, right now are on your About page. And now in Pattern, in the bottom menu, no matter what page you're on, are the links to all of your social media sites or your website or blog or whatever. So they can always see those links. That's kind of nice. They don't have to go to your About page to try to see those other places to find you. And I think because it's always in the bottom menu, it's going to be less of a distraction. Yes, you can use your own domain name. It's going to be less of a distraction because it's always in the bottom menu, whereas if it's only in one spot, like in the About page, someone might be like, oh, there's the links, and then they click onto your Facebook page and then they're lost, right? If it's at the bottom menu, it's always accessible, and so maybe someone won't get distracted and chase that squirrel when they don't need to until they're done browsing or shopping or whatever. Then they can go to your social media. Okay, so Cloth and Mortar asked, she said that, well, I'm assuming she, could be he. Cloth and Mortar said, my shop name is the most searched term that I'm found for in search. That's a really good question, Yas's Place. Will it show where they came from as far as your traffic goes? I am not positive. I am going to guess, because you're using your own domain name, that you would just need to set up Google Analytics and that you're going to need to track your traffic there. But I don't know, because they still go through the transaction and it goes through Etsy. So that's something that we'll have to wait and see what happens. If your shop name is your #1 search term, which actually mine has been for the last 2 months, that has been, for the first time ever, my greatest search term on Etsy. This is one thing that kind of ties in with one of my concerns, which has to do with SEO. Etsy has worked really hard to make sure that their market pages show up higher in Google search than anybody's individual shop on Etsy. Now, from my shop, for cash envelope system wallets, for that search term, I am still showing up high because that's longer than the 20 character tag limit. So anything that can be a tag on Etsy, just has, in Google, it displays Etsy's market pages, which then send you to a collection of a bunch of different people's listings. Whereas shops used to be able to show up high in Google search for those search terms. Now it's Etsy market pages that show up in search. So I don't know how this is going to work for these pattern standalone websites, if because it's your own domain, if you're going to be able to build up some SEO juice with Google because of that, or if it's still somehow going to factor in with Etsy and their market pages. That is something I do not know. So I think if you are able to get some good SEO going with your market pages and start showing up in Google search because you have your own domain, that could be another advantage to having it. But that is something that's completely unknown right now until people start, trying it out, playing around with it, and we see, well, this is something we'll see down the road. So if that was the case, you could possibly start showing up higher in Google search for your shop name if you can get some traction with that. It's $15 a month after the free trial. There are no different tiers right now. It's just a straight $15. But, people can still go to Etsy and do an Etsy search for your shop name, and it's still going to be something that's bringing up your shop. So it's like you can be found in two places. Yeah, really. So you can still be found in Etsy search, and hopefully this will possibly help you be able to be found in Google search over time. But like I said, that's yet to be seen. All right. Any other questions that I missed that you asked about this? So, like someone mentioned, this is in beta. This is literally the first I heard about it was like an hour and a half ago, maybe. And so, just initially giving you my first impressions and playing around with it and seeing what happens. So, here's the really cool news, which really surprised me. If you go to, yes, you would have to drive traffic to it. So what you would want to start doing is if you go ahead and, no, it won't hurt anything to change it. If you decide to start using Pattern and you redirect your domain name to Pattern instead of to your Etsy shop, that would be a great thing if that's what you want to do. I lost my train of thought there. Okay. Anyway, another thing I was starting to say is you can actually go to, if you go in your dashboard and you start looking at this whole pattern thing, and you see the button that says create a custom site in driving traffic. Thank you, Tracy. Yes, as far as driving traffic, if you decide to go ahead and sign up for Pattern, what you can do is you can start on social media, start directing people to your standalone website instead of to Etsy, because that way you're not getting other people's things seen, or customers are not getting distracted, but it's still processed the same way. So if you do it, definitely be changing up those links to your shop so that you start to drive your own traffic to your domain name. So back to the cool thing. If you click on the button that says create a custom site in minutes, or whatever that button is that lets you start, you can actually go play around with Pattern and see how it looks before you start the free trial. So the fees, yes, there's a $15 monthly fee, Elizabeth. So the fees are, as far as transaction fee, listing fee, payment processing fee, all the same as if someone were to purchase right from your shop on Etsy. But you have a $15 fee that goes to having this standalone website. Okay, that functionality, that's where the $15 fee goes. So instead of paying like $29 a month to Shopify for their basic plan, then you're paying $15 to Etsy to have this. And I really think, honestly, I think that Etsy's intention is to be a competitor with Shopify, because it's a lot of people are leaving Etsy to create a Shopify store, or they're staying on Etsy but also creating a Shopify store instead. So I think they saw this need to give an option to get people to not leave or to not be competing with someone having a Shopify shop. So you can go ahead and play around with Pattern, and you can actually preview. You can try out the different themes, do some things with your fonts, the colors of your fonts, play around with it, and you don't even have to click that start free trial button yet. So play around with it, and then if you decide, I think I want to go ahead and move ahead, then you can click start free trial. Trina, that is what I'm going to try to do if I decide to play around with this. I'm going to see if I can direct it, if I can have like a subdirectory on my, or a page on my website that exists that I can link to patterns. So for example, a timeforeverything.net/shop. I'm going to see if it's possible to use that as the domain name with it. So you can preview your shop, play around with it before you ever decide you want to start that 30-day free trial. I think once you start your free trial, I don't know if there's any additional functionality. I guess really the only thing that would happen when you start your free trial is people could start purchasing from your site. So you can play around with the look of it in this preview mode and get an idea of how you want things to be. And then once you start your free 30-day trial, you're just right in there selling. Instead of starting your free 30-day trial and then you're playing around with things for a week and you're losing that time that you could have just gotten right into selling from that site exactly the way that you want it to look. Okay. Yep, it all integrates through Etsy. So everything, once a person goes to checkout, that all gets processed through Etsy. So the browsing and the cart functions stay on the site, but checkout actually goes to Etsy checkout. And then it's added to your sales number, it's added to your sold orders list, it's added to your shipping labels, all of that stuff. Your trial started before I pressed publish. Well, see, right now, the screen that I'm in, I have, hold on a second. My options say at the bottom right, preview and start free trial. So I have been just playing around with it. It says ends May 5th. So you must have pushed start free trial. Right now I have not done that. I am just using preview only, and I'm changing up the themes on the left and changing up things in editing just so I can see how it would look. But obviously right now in preview mode, I cannot sell anything with it until I click start free trial. Then people can start shopping on that site. So if you don't want to start your free trial yet, don't click that start free trial blue button. Just stay on the screen that you see, play around with it. Click preview, you'll see how it looks out of edit mode, how it would look to the public. The new listings, yes, so it syncs completely. Whatever you do in your Etsy shop, if you put a new listing, if you renew a listing, it will sync with your pattern standalone website. It's like a mirror, but it just looks different. The layout is different. Okay. So I'll definitely talk about this again at some point this week after I play around with it a little bit more and maybe read some questions and answers if Etsy answers anything. Right now they haven't been answering anything about the new shop design going live. So there's about 5 or 6 different themes where you can customize the look. The customization is kind of limited right now. That's something that might change, but there are about 5 or 6 different themes. So somebody had said something, oh, the cost of a domain name. Yes, you're going to pay for a domain name, it's pretty reasonable. Depending on what kind of domain name you buy, you can get it from anywhere from under $10 to under $20 for the whole year. You can share this by swiping left or right on iOS or swiping up on Android and share to Twitter or to your followers. No, you're not going to have double fees. It's literally synced with your shop, so it'll pull in what you've already listed. In you can't add listings on this standalone website. This literally just pulls in your listings from Etsy, so you'll still do all of your editing, renewing listings, listing new items in your Etsy shop. So you'll just be charged the listing fee one time, and then your pattern site will sync and pull those in. No, see, Rachel, that was one of the negatives. I didn't write it down. That was my first negative I thought of, was still no option for people to sign up for your mailing list without you just putting a note about it on your About page. Yeah, so same thing. They're still going through the checkout process on Etsy, and there's no option there. So that's a negative. If if that's something that you really want to be able to do with a standalone website and you feel pretty passionate about that, then you may not want to go with this option, or may try it out for a while. But yeah, like I said, I think it's really going to be ideal for people with very little margin in their lives right now to try to manage multiple platforms when it comes to their inventory and shipping orders, or if they're just hugely technology overwhelmed and don't feel that they have the capability of managing multiple platforms. It just might be a good place to land, at least for a while, until you get your footing. And, you know, maybe have the money to hire somebody to do a standalone website, or you just feel more confident moving forward and managing multiple platforms. Yeah, Trina, if you rearrange your shop in Classic View before you go live, you can go through the pages and you can move from like page 5 to page 1, just like you've been able to do up until now, up until the new shop design. And then if you go into your editing your new shop design and you go down to the rearrange part and you click on use my custom sort, then you will see all of your listings resort themselves to how you did it in the Classic View. And they will stay that way. But you have to do it before you don't have the Classic View anymore. Because otherwise you're going to just be dragging or using the numbers, that each listing has a number. You're going to just be using the number system and trying to renumber them. So if you still are struggling with that and your shop has not gone live yet in the new view, go in and rearrange in the Classic View, go into your shop edit page and click use my custom sort, and it will change it to what you just did in the Classic View, and it will stay that way. Okay, well, I have to run for an appointment, but thanks for joining me today, and definitely I will talk about it again later this week. Oh, I'm sorry, Trina. Maybe it was the number of items. I'm sorry that you had trouble with that. If you have any questions, you can email me at melissa@makeryspace.com, or you can go to makeryspace.com/scope and scroll down to the form where you can request a topic or a question that you'd like me to cover on Periscope. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you tomorrow about 10:30 Pacific time.